Cheers. Goes Hoodie Howlett.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 20 of the I-70 Hot Tag. Tonight is our go-home show for CSW Horsemen Country, which is down to just 2 days away, Saturday, August 27th at the Camelot Ballroom in Overland Park, Kansas. We've talked with Hoodie Howlett, Niles Planquet, Moonshine Mantell, and even AEW's own Brock Anderson himself. But tonight we are sitting down with the owner of Central States Wrestling, the man behind it all. Joe McDonald joins us tonight, and we chat all things Horseman Country. Don't go anywhere.
This is Hoodie Howlett representing the tribe.
This is Ryan the Infinite Gingell.
This is Luke Langley.
Derek Stone.
This is Mighty Micah.
This is Brock Anderson, and y'all are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
And now, CRMedia presents the official podcast sponsor of CSW Horsemen Country, the I-70 Hot Tag, with your host, Chaos Chase, and the real Josh Elliott.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 20 of the I-70 Hot Tag. The setup here looks a little bit different. I'm not your boy, Chase. I am the real Josh Elliott as your host tonight. And with me tonight, we got to put a little tag team action here. We called in Bryan Janascheck here tonight. How you doing, Bryan?
Doing good. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, fantastic. We appreciate you kind of taking the last minute fill in here for Chase. Chase is Chase is currently sitting at Arrowhead Stadium watching the Chiefs and Packers preseason game. So we have a hell of a show tonight, guys. Again, like we said, this is episode 20. This is we got Joe McDonald on. He's the owner of CSW. But before we get to that, just wanted to kind of get the rigmarole out of the way. We are currently still live, even though Chase is not here. We are still live on CRMedia 1988 on Twitch, on Facebook. We're also live on I-70 Hot Tag on Facebook and YouTube as well. So if you guys can hit that like, share, subscribe, and notification bell so you never miss a thing. Social medias, guys, again, follow us on the I-70 Hot Tag. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. So again, like and share on those platforms as well. Bryan, would you like to tell everybody where we can find you on social media?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Bryan_J_. That's pretty much all I have. Other than that, I'd follow CRMedia 1988, I-70 Hot Tag, Josh, Chase. Any promotions that you're following and promoting, go out there and hit those guys up.
Fantastic, guys. So I wanted to give a shout out to our previous guest last week on the I-70 Hot Tag. We had the Mile High Magnum Dak Draper on. And then just this past Monday, we had Moonshine Mantell on the pit stop, which was our final pit stop for the last couple weeks. We will not be returning to our Monday show until September 12th. We're going to take a couple weeks off. We will continue to go live here on Thursday every week up until then. So if you missed those, you can go find them on the podcast platforms, Anchor, Google, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, all the podcast platforms. They're there. So go download for your listening pleasure. So guys, let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get our guest in here tonight. He is the owner of CSW. Let's bring in Mr. Joe McDonald.
What's up, fellas?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm hanging in there, counting down the days. 2 more days till the big show.
Absolutely.
We're ready.
We are ready.
I can't believe it's getting here. Just to correct you, I am the co-owner of Central States Wrestling. It's I certainly can't take all the credit for making all the wheels run, but Strider and myself, and we've got a great team, management team with Trinity Talent, and then just all the talent that we have, the wrestlers, the ring crew, our production crew. It certainly is a group effort.
Absolutely. So, Joe, I don't really want to waste any time here. This is a huge event. You're not only going to have Second City Saint, Ace Steel on the card, but you've also gotten Brock Anderson and Arn Anderson this Saturday for Horsemen Country. Talk to us a little bit about the process and getting all 3 of those guys for this event.
I had when Ace left working as a trainer for the Performance Center with WWE and was signed with AEW. That's kind of when the wheels started turning there. I mean, Strider and I had always talked about, hey, who should we, if we can get guys from AEW, who would it be? Like, oh, it's Jeremy Wyatt. EWF champion Jeremy Wyatt, everybody.
Hi. So this is the official podcast sponsor of Horsemen Country, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I figured I'd take it upon myself. Actually, I'm being paid to interject on this. So I'm gonna chime in on our match this Saturday, this tag match with myself and the Ice Pick Vic Capri against a guy who I considered a brother, Ace Steel and Brock Anderson. For the last few weeks, I was wondering why Ace did what he did. why he was the one who answered my open challenge. But the time has come and passed for that. See, Ace still faced consequences for his actions, but he didn't get the message. He decided to double down. And he decided to come back for some revenge. And now he's bringing in an innocent bystander, a guy with a bright future, a future that's going to get cut short in Brock Anderson. And he's bringing his daddy with him. Ain't that just grand, boys? Double A. Arn Anderson sitting in their corner. Yes, no, yes, anything, anyone?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been promoting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you've been promoting, and that's why I'm here to talk about that match. So, does anyone have any questions, or how does this Mickey Mouse operation work exactly? Do I just say what I had to say and I just hang up because I have better things to do with my time, or do you ask some questions, I give some answers?
Well, I'm not really sure how you got on here. This is supposed to be for Joe. There's nothing prepared here, Jeremy. I mean, I guess tell us.
Wow, a wrestling podcast that's not prepared. Imagine that.
Okay, so you're teaming with Vic Capri. Tell us.
Yeah.
We already talked to Brock. He's already told us what he has plans for you and Vic. He doesn't really know you guys.
No, I didn't listen to Brock. So you tell me what he has planned for me and Vic Capri. I'm curious.
Well, he is the son of Arn Anderson, so he's got the roots. So
okay, great.
He talked about your history with Ace, and it's going to be strictly business. And he's going to come in, take care of business, and leave. So tell us why you think that's not going to happen. Why are you and Vic going to beat Brock Anderson and Ace Steel?
Is that a serious question? Why?
It is.
Why is the Monarch Jeremy Wyatt and the Ice Pick Vic Capri going to beat the Second City Saint Ace Steel and Brock Anderson? Well, one reason, first and foremost, you're talking to the greatest professional wrestler to come out of Kansas City since Harley Race. That'd be reason number one. Reason number two is because I've got the Ice Pick Vic Capri by my side. And you got Brock Anderson. Yeah, he's got a bright future. His dad is Double A, so he's got some roots, as you say. But the kid's a greenhorn. And to sound cliche, but myself and Vic Capri have forgotten more about professional wrestling than Brock Anderson knows. Is that a good enough reason for you?
That's perfect, sir. That is absolutely perfect. All right. Well, I mean, if that's all you got to say, man, we'll definitely see you on Saturday, and we'll find out really if your words are gonna play out, and you're gonna have your hand raised, or if we're gonna see Ace and Brock take the victory. So time will tell. 2 days away.
Yeah, 2 days away. Time will tell, and in 2 days, time will tell that Ace Steel should have stayed at home. And he shouldn't have brought someone like Brock Anderson to fight his battles.
All right, okay, sir.
You're welcome.
We will see you on Saturday.
Can't wait to do this again sometime.
Well,
that's our champion. That is our DWF champion.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how we got here, guys. I mean, I really don't. I mean,
make no mistake about it. I've known Jeremy Wyatt 20 plus years now, and I've seen him grow like as a athlete, as a wrestler. When in the first iteration, I should say, of CSW, he was super talented. And when he started with us, you could tell that he had something. And as he continued to perform with CSW, he just got better and better and better because he was working with better talent to the point where it was like, all right, let's put him with Chris Daniels and see really what he's got. And we had Chris Daniels come in, and he went toe to toe with Chris, and it was just like, Wyatt's money. And jump forward now these years later, and he's even better. And I've had that conversation with him. I'm like, Jeremy, you've gotten so much better. Like, it's like, not that you weren't good before, but you're like on a whole different level now. So make no mistake about it. He is a crafty competitor, and this weekend's main event, it's going to be crazy. I a lot of eyeballs are going to be on this show and on that main event specifically. And, it's going to be one for the ages. Wyatt as our reigning and defending champion, the Ice Pick Vic Capri. Vic is an amazing athlete. Out of Chicago, he's been doing this for a long time. Ace Steele, he's been doing it for a long time. Arn Anderson, I mean, what can you say about Arn Anderson that hasn't already been said about the guy? I mean, his name speaks for himself. And then Brock Anderson, who's, making his name, he's paying his dues and making his name on a national level. So it's a really exciting match. So I'm not only for the fans, but for, me, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this match plays out. What Vic and Wyatt have up their sleeves, because I got a feeling that, there is something. Wyatt's no dummy, he's a very smart wrestler. So Ace knows that. Ace knows Wyatt very well. I mean, going back to their days in the foundation, they were like brothers. And, listening to stories that Strider has told me about about the foundation and National Wrestling League, it's just like, yeah, this is gonna be good, like really good.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for that match. I was first introduced to Wyatt back in 2019. I saw his first match live, and I couldn't agree more. He's gotten better as time goes on, and I'm sure Bryan can attest to this. We think he's one of the best in the area. So
yeah, and but please don't take this as me saying like Wyatt is old by any means, age-wise. No. But he's been doing this for a long time, and he shows no signs of like plateauing or getting kind of. A lot of guys will get to a point where their bodies start breaking down, or they just start phoning things in, or whatever the case may be. He just keeps getting better and better. Which is a testament to his character. So personally, I'm not saying his character gimmick or whatever, but just him as how dedicated he is to this. So he's not slowing down. So yeah,
we don't see it at all. We're gonna go ahead and bring the chat in here, guys. So we had a lot of comments through that whole deal there. I showed some on the screen. So Jason Wallace, he said nobody can beat Jeremy Wyatt. He's a big Jeremy Wyatt fan. Ultimate Sports Talk, really liking this Jeremy Wyatt dude. Ultimate Heel Raz. So we'll keep the chat on, guys. So we're gonna go on ahead and move on to the interview portion here. I should have started off. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Before Wyatt cut in on us, you guys were asking about how the Brock Anderson, Arn Anderson. I had mentioned, I was saying that, Strider and I were talking about it, like, eventually we'd like to bring in, some talent from whether it be TNA or AEW or some of the more top shelf indie guys that are out there and available, which anymore it's kind of slim pickings. There are a lot of great pieces of talent out there that are unsigned. But just when you think like, oh yeah, this guy would be great, they get signed. So it makes it a little more difficult. Or they're just super busy. Like great talent stays busy. So and that's always been the case. It's always hard to line up, talent, I guess a guest talent. And really even our roster, we got to get them we got to set out our dates. Like I put our 2023 dates together 4 months ago, and you get the dates out to the guys as soon as you can. Hey guys, here's our dates. Book them down now, because we want who we want. So, Strider and I were talking, and I won't say too terribly much about what names we were talking about, but Brock's name came up, and I was like, what would be cool is if we could get Brock in. And Strider definitely, he was like, yeah, that would be good. And kind of at the time, like, it would be really cool is if we could get Brock and his dad to come in. Like that would be a coup de grace, So, Strider has a very good relationship with Ace Steel. They're very good friends. I've known Ace since I was 16 years old. I'm 44, so that gives you the idea of how long I've known Ace for. Our relationship isn't nearly as what Strider's is. Strider's and his are, but we have a good relationship. So that opened that kind of door for us, and it's for a guy like Arn Anderson, it's like he doesn't need to do this. He played it. He put in his time. He made his money, and he's living his life. And God bless him. God bless him, because a lot of guys spent their money like like they'd get it again. So he doesn't take a lot of indie dates. If you look at if you look at the indies in America, he doesn't take a lot, and he doesn't hit the road a lot. If he does take indies, they're pretty close to North Carolina, South Carolina. So we're very fortunate that we were able to get this put together, and a big part of that was Strider and Ace, and that's kind of how that worked out. Now, going forward, we have a list of guys that are definites. Like we definitely want to book these guys, and I won't say who because it may not happen. But when Strider and I look at a talent like of an Arn Anderson or a Brock Anderson caliber, we don't want to bring in guys that are just guys that, I don't know how to say this, like, oh, they'll have a great match. This guy will have a great match. Yeah, that's part of it. But I know in my case, for me, I want a guy that can draw. I want a guy that can bring eyeballs to CSW that maybe not normally have heard of CSW or know about independent wrestling, but they know who an Arn Anderson is. And any decent promoter or businessman or whatever, that's the idea, is to grow your business. And that's what Strider and I treat CSW as. First and foremost, it's a business, and we're here to make money. It just so happens the business that we're in, we both really, really love. So getting off on a tangent here, I apologize. But, so for me, like in the original CSW, we didn't bring in a name. The first kind of name that we brought in was Colt Cabana. I brought him in, programmed him with Strider. They had a great program together that lasted. I initially brought Colt in for I want to say our first 2 or 3 shows that we did. And then we stopped booking him for about, 8 months, 9 months. And then I brought him back and didn't announce him. Like I was like, here's what I'm going to do. Strider, let's do this. And it was Strider and I that more so Strider that was booking, but I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to bring Colt back. I don't want to advertise him. I want him to stay at your apartment. This is when Strider was living out in Lawrence and we were running CSW at the Armory there in Lawrence. And I'm like, no one knows. And after intermission, we'll send somebody to your house to get him. And we did the whole, like, Strider had gotten done with his match. And, we gave him kind of a tomato can, easy win. And the crowd just, they would always every now and again start chanting Colt Cabana at him for, like, I don't know, that whole time, like 8 months. Like we hadn't booked him in 8 months, but they would still chant Colt Cabana at him. So, we did the lights out, lights came back on, and there's Cabana standing in the ring, and Strider's got his back to him. And, the crowd just went nuts. They were like, oh my God, like, what are these guys? Like I had fans come up to me at the end of the night, like, what are you guys doing here? Like, this is insane. Like, this is like kind of like a big time vibe here, like. So yeah, and then we did the next show was Strider and Cabana, and that show was called Business as Usual, and we did Strider Cabana 3, and it was a pretty big house for us. We definitely saw an increase in fans. Now taking it up a step, it was like Raven. Raven was the first, like, huge name we brought in. And I was like, okay, he's asking for this much. We typically draw, for easy math, I'm going to say Raven charges us $100. He didn't, but we're going to do that. Right. My total gate for my best show was $50. So will Raven draw me an extra $100 so I make money off of it, not only pay for him, but make money off of it? And that's the thought, and he did. And even more so, it's, for me, is the back end. And what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. There's a lot of new fans that are coming to this show this Saturday at the Horsemen Country. They're coming specifically to see Arn Anderson and Brock Anderson. I know that. What the hope is that they get hooked. Yep. They're like, oh my God, this was a great show. Like, not only was it Arn Anderson and Brock Anderson, but that Ace Steel was awesome. That Jeremy Wyatt was awesome. And if I can, I say but when I say that, I mean, the ownership team, Strider and I, and Trinity, if we can convert 50 new paying fans to every show, like they just start coming to every show, then the long-term investment on Arn and Brock keeps paying and paying and paying. So, and that's like going back to Raven. We did that with Raven. We drew probably 60 new fans that kept coming to every show we did after that. And it was Raven that brought those eyes there. And to this day, some of those fans still come to CSW shows. And then we did Sabu, and that's the whole thing is yeah, it's cool to have these guys on your card, but for me, I look at it as, A, are they going to bring new fans to the table? And B, we've got to bust ass. We, meaning our core crew of guys, the Howletts, the Premier, Hoodie, our Dak, and Luigi, and all the guys that are here every show, they're going to bust ass, and they're going to hook these fans that haven't been, and we're going to convert them to new fans. That's the entire goal for me, anyway. Strider may have a different opinion on it. I kind of doubt it, but it's how you grow a business. It's promoting. It's promoting 101, and promoting is nothing but marketing or selling. You're at the end of the day, you're selling a product. You're trying to get as many eyeballs on it and as many loyal customers as you can. And thus far, we've been with the second run here, and this goes back to the very first show, the DWF show. We have seen a steady increase in fan new fans every show. And this weekend we'll get a big shot in the arm on that. And that just benefits not only us as a company, it benefits the fans, our fans and fans around the area, because we can afford to do cooler things and bring in more talent and, our current talent, so they get to work with different talent. And so it all works out well.
Absolutely. So, okay, Joe.
I can get a little long-winded.
You're good.
Whoever's watching, what you don't know is Bryan was like, "Oh, I've never seen you this tired." We were talking before. He's like, "I've never seen you this tired before." And yeah, I'm pretty exhausted. But once I get going, I kind of pep up a little bit and talk way too goddamn much.
Okay, so this might be a little bit shorter of an answer. So we all have backstories of how we got into watching or becoming fans of wrestling or being involved in wrestling. Mine goes back to my great-grandmother, who is a full-blooded Native American, got hooked, which in turn hooked my dad and then myself at a very young age. So what brought you into wrestling? What caught your eye with wrestling?
So when I grew up in Redondo Beach, California, which is about a 20-minute drive south and west of Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles. It's only like 3 miles, but I say 20 minutes because you don't go by miles in Los Angeles. You go by how long it takes you to get there. So my exposure to wrestling, there was no like local, I'm sure there were, but there was no like Central States territory at that time, in the early 80s. I was born in 78, but I used to follow, I had a cousin and I thought he was the coolest dude in the world. And I'd follow him everywhere he went. Like he'd come over and like, he'd sit down on the couch and I'd sit down on the couch. He'd get up from the couch. I'd get up from the couch. And I spent the night at his house one time and we were in his bedroom playing with G.I. Joes or whatever. And his mom came in and said, Hulk Hogan's on TV. And my cousin just hightailed it in there. So at this point, I was probably 5. It's one of my earliest memories. So I follow him in there and I had never seen wrestling before. And I just was like enamored with it. Like as a kid, I was a big, like, I loved the Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno. And like, I always was like, big, strong guys. Like I was always like, that's the cool stuff. Incredible Hulk, like the Thing and, from comic books and just like any kind of movie where it had like a big, like meathead, whatever. And I was just like, I can remember it like it was yesterday. Like it was just, Hogan was wearing his blue tights and I don't know who he was fighting, but I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is the craziest shit I have ever seen in my life. These guys are killing one another. Like, how is this illegal? Like my 5-year-old mind was just like, I don't understand. And from that moment on, I was in love with it. And I grew up, I have 3 brothers, 1 younger and 2 older. We're all 2 years apart. And most kids go through that wrestling phase, Me, it never left me. Like, in high school, like I'd be going out on a date. Like I had a pretty steady girlfriend. And like when we first started dating, she'd come over on Saturday and I'd be like, from 5:05 until 7:05, I'm going to be watching TBS. So we got to go out after that. Like, and like for me, I didn't know jack shit as a kid. All I thought was WWF. Like that's all I knew. And then we moved, my dad's from Kansas City. We moved from LA to Kansas City. His grandfather was a huge wrestling fan. And then my mom's grandmother was a huge wrestling fan. Now my mom's side, my mom's grandmother was up in like Green Bay. So she was like a huge Moose Cholak fan. And my mom used to always tell me this. And I'm like, what the hell is a Moose Cholak? I've never seen him on WWF before. And then my dad would always talk about Harley Race because my dad was from Kansas City and he knew Harley Race. So we get to Kansas City and it's at the tail end of Geigel stop. He had just, probably pretty quickly after we got here, stopped running his Thursday shows at Memorial. But that's when I found out, like, okay, who's this Harley Race guy? And I was flipping through the channels one day and came across WCW or at the time NWA, and I'm like, well, these guys are all kind of, they don't look like muscle heads, like it was all meatheads and WWF at that time. Everybody was all steroided out. Now I did see the Road Warriors and I was like, okay, those guys are badasses. And I'm like, but you mean to tell me like the Midnight Express, these guys are going to give them any kind of shot whatsoever? Like the Road Warriors are just going to kill them, like whatever. Like I was just a fan. I didn't know any better of how it worked, or didn't really give NWA a lot of chance. But then I'd see guys from like WWF, like Bam Bam Bigelow showed up there, and I was like, okay, I know who that is. And then so while I watched NWA into WCW, I didn't watch it as religiously as I did WWF. But then I was flipping through the channels. One Christmas we got a TV for our bedroom, and it was a big deal. So we could watch whatever we wanted to watch. I could watch wrestling, and when my dad come in, he wouldn't tell me to change the channel. Right. I was flipping through the channels, and I took my dinner into my room, and I can remember this like it was yesterday. I had pork chops, green beans, and mashed potatoes. And I'm sitting in front of the TV, and I'm eating my mashed potatoes, and TBS, I'm flipping through the channels, TBS hits, and there's Harley Race. And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool, Harley Race. Like, if I ever saw Harley Race on TV prior to that, I'd always stop and watch him because he was from Kansas City. And at that point, he was more managing because he had left WWF and, went back to WCW and was more of a manager role like Lex Luger and Mr. Hughes and all that. But out behind him comes this giant man. Like, I was like, holy shit. And he's like moving and grooving and barking and shit. It was Big Van Vader. And I was like, I had like a mouthful of mashed potatoes, and I was just like, oh my God. He gets in there and just beats the shit out of the poor guy that I was like, this guy is terrifying. Like, I was legit like, there's no way. Like, at this point, I kind of knew that wrestling, was a work, but I was like, there's no fucking way you can tell me that big ass dude is not just beating the shit out of that poor guy. And from that moment on, I started watching WCW all the time. And it was a great time to do it because I got to see Vader and Sting and blah, blah, blah. And it just increased the appetite for me watching wrestling. So, and then as I got older, tape trading became a thing. And people were like, oh, you got to check out like Bill Watts, like find some tapes of Bill Watts and blah, blah, blah. So then I became more of a student of the game. And then meeting Strider, I want to say I met Strider in probably 97 when he started training. Yeah. And just like getting to know him and just talking about wrestling with him. He was just another guy that was super passionate about wrestling, like loved it to his core. And that was awesome. And he had like this whole tape library, and it was just like, I'm borrowing this. And then I'd be like, hey, I've got this ECW stuff. You want to borrow it? Like, so it was pretty fun there. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how that's exactly how I became a wrestling fan. That's the long story to the short answer that you wanted.
And that probably covers the how did you and Strider become best friends? And that's here, Barbara.
I wouldn't say Strider and I are best friends. I honestly, I consider him a brother. And I know that's kind of a phrase. Oh, he's my brother. But I really mean that. I told you earlier, I have three brothers. There's Jason, there's Jamie, and there's Jeremy. And then there's Joe. We're all the J boys. It just so happens my other brother is Justin. So he's the fifth J boy. And, he's just a really good dude. And all the qualities that my brothers have, he has those qualities. And there have been times where we haven't talked for, several months, just because life gets busy, whatever. But like when he was working with National Wrestling League, I didn't hear from much of him at all, but I knew he was busy, and it wasn't, and then I also knew that I could call him anytime I wanted and be like, yo, I need to bury a body. And he'd be like, all right, dude, I'm on my way. So I do consider him family. And when I say like I consider him a brother, I extend anything I would do for my blood, I would do for Strider. He's always had my back. And that hasn't always been easy, because I've made some mistakes here and there. We all have, but he's never, he's always had my back. So, and me his. We've gone through a lot together, triumph and tragedy. And when I say tragedy, I mean like personal, heartache that he and I have been there for each other. So I would do anything for him, anything in the world. Him, his wife, his son, they're just the Appleberries are solid people.
Good deal. Yeah, it's funny you said you guys are all the J boys. Our family does the exact same thing. Only
Nice.
We don't have 5, we have 25
Wow.
J's in our family, extended family too, not just my brothers or anything, but yeah, we're up to 25.
I'm sure you went through the whole thing with your mom where she was like, jet, jerk, jerk, jet.
Oh, yeah. I do it too. I've got 3 kids, and I call them by the wrong name all the time.
Yeah. I'm fortunate that I have a son and a daughter, because I never really, I think like once or twice I got their names mixed up. I was like, hey, Emma, and Liam. It was Liam that I was talking to. He was like, I'm Liam. Like, yeah.
So I wanted to get to some of the chat questions here. I know Dean Houston has a question about women's wrestling. We did see Marty Bell and Miranda Gordy wrestle in CSW. He wants to know if there's any women wrestlers in CSW.
Full, like, I don't want, I'm going to use the word full time, but it's not, our core roster right now. It's all guys. I do consider Miranda and Marty part of our roster. Good women talent are hard to book because they're busy. They stay booked, they stay busy. So it's like, hey, are you available on any of these dates? And they look through them and they're like, I'm already all booked. So in order for us to get a high level female talent like that, it takes a lot of planning and a lot of like foresight. Like, okay, A, who are we going to go after? B, are they available? And it's all an availability issue. Because just like male wrestlers, there are female wrestlers out there that unfortunately aren't that good. And I've always been of the opinion, and I know Strider is too, is to present the best talent that we can. Showcase the best talent that's available. And it's not something that we're ever gonna like back away from, I guess, for lack of better terms.
Right.
But that's not to say, I don't know when we'll have women back in. It's not that we're opposed to it. That's what I want to stress, is we're certainly not opposed to it. In fact, we welcome it. It's just a matter of scheduling.
Right. Okay. So Ultimate Sports Talk wants to ask. I already know this answer, but I want you to promote it. Where can they find CSW content if they aren't able to watch live?
So you can go to our YouTube page, which is, I got to look it up. The problem with social media is all of our handles are just a little bit different than one another. I want to say it's youtube.com/Central States Wrestling is what it is. It's the only one that's different from the rest of our social media handles. So, so you can go to youtube.com/Central States Wrestling. We put up all of our shows. Usually we try to get them out as fast as we can after a show. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, just because sometimes I get a little lazy and I'm like, I don't want to do it today. But all of our shows do get up there, and I'm actually working right now with a company to up-res all of our old shows, like from the original CSW run. So like, for example, Jeremy Wyatt and Michael Strider had one of the most, and I'm not even gonna say one of the, it was the most barbaric match I've ever seen, and it's one of the most barbaric matches that you can book, and that's a no roped barbed wire match. And we never, for whatever reason, I never edited that show. I did edit the show, but then my computer crashed, and then like it just got lost. The tapes got lost. And I've moved a bunch since then and never could find them. I have all the old masters of CSW videotapes. I just couldn't find that one. And when I just moved into the house that I'm in now, back in April, I came across a box. I opened it up. I'm like, something's in here. And I'm like, no, these aren't them. And it just had a date. Like I used to just date the tapes.
Yeah.
February 5th, 2005, tape 1, float 1, or floor 1, tape 1, hard cam tape 1. And I'm like, I had to get online and look up the date of what that show was. And I'm like, it's them, like out of this like vault, like thought they were lost forever. So I sent them in to have them digitized. And then because they don't make mini DV decks anymore, which sucks because I've got a ton of mini DV decks or mini DV tapes, but I got it done, and then we had it up-resed to just over 1080p. We used an AI program that's big in Hollywood. A lot of Hollywood studios use them. I've got access to it because I know people, and that's all I can say about that. But it did a really good job of getting it to 4K quality, to where it was the 4K resolution, but it wasn't quite there. It was a little, you could tell like there was some filters put on it and whatnot, or you could tell that it wasn't quite natural. The best look we got was just over 1080p. And so it's just sitting. I actually released maybe a month and a half ago. I started a From the Vault series on our YouTube page that is specifically for old shows. And the first match that I put up was Darian Sanders against AJ Styles, which was a great match. That whole card was just so much fun. We had the Black and the Brave in, which is Seth Rollins now, and Merrick Brave, his partner. Was it Merrick Brave? I think so. But just top to bottom, that show was awesome. So yeah, the next one will be the barbed wire show, and then like we'll do like Strider and Samoa Joe, and then all those shows that we had Abyss on and Raven on, and Sabu on, and then even the big shows like Deal with the Steel, and you're gonna hear this name again. Deal with the Steel was a show that when I was a youngster, I used to play with my wrestler toys, and I'm like, oh, Deal with the Steel. It was like my WrestleMania for my toys, my little toy federation. And I always thought the name was cool. And I can't remember. I pitched it to Strider at some point. I had to have at some point in CSW's first run. And he was like, that name's great. And I'm like, my idea is that, the main event is some sort of steel match. And my thought was that the first Deal with the Steel would be a steel cage match. Well, we couldn't afford a steel cage. So it was like, what are we going to do? Like doing like chairs would be kind of weak. And Strider was like, I know, I'll do a dog collar match, and I'm like, you'll do it? And he was like, hell yeah. And I'm like, all right. So he and Brett Young did a Russian chain match and beat the piss out of one another. So that launched the Deal with the Steel. That's kind of the CSW WrestleMania, so to speak. The next year, what did we do that second year? Deal with the Steel 2. We eventually got a cage and we did a War Games match, and it was God, it was nuts. It was Strider and Derek Stone and Steve Fender against the Girthy Management Group, which was Jeremy Wyatt, Wade Chisholm, and Hype Gotti. And like watching Strider wrestle back in those days, it was always like, oh, my chest, I think I'm gonna have a heart. This dude, fucking Strider, you're gonna give me a heart attack. Like it was always like, I knew he would be okay, but then there's that thought in the back of your mind, you're just like, please God, please. And it's like, going all over the armory, and he's throwing trash cans up in the air, and it's got nachos and cheese is flying everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to stay till midnight and clean this fucking place. And I know he'd do that just to fuck with me. But yeah, there was that night in that cage match, he actually got on the top of the cage and dove off to the outside on a group of people. And I'm like, this is not, like, I can't take this anymore. Like, you're literally going to give me a heart attack. So, but yeah, there was nothing like watching Strider wrestle. Like, my favorite of all time wrestling story is, my mom's mom, my grandma, she came into town and was staying with my mom, and we just so happened to have a show that weekend. And I was like, yeah, you got to come see my show. And my mom was like, yeah, you got to go. And my brother and his wife at the time, they all came out, and Strider comes out, and he just does Strider. It was like insanity. It was just literally like a tornado. A Strider match was literally like just a tornado going around the venue. This specific match was. Not all of Strider's matches were just, brawls and stuff. He very, very talented individual. But my grandma, like, she was always like, oh, wrestling. Like, she thought it was, like, she was supportive of what I was doing, of course. But like, if you asked her about wrestling, she's like, oh, that stuff's stupid. So it was kind of hard to get her there. But once Strider really got into it, like, she was like freaking out, like freaking out. She ended up going back home to my mom's. My mom calls me the next day and is like, Yaya is still freaking out. And then she gets on the phone. Oh, Joey, you got to call the police on that guy. He's crazy. Like, you're going to get sued and he's going to kill somebody. Like, she was convinced that Strider was this deranged, unhinged lunatic. And my mom said she was up all night, like literally up all night, like about to have a panic attack over it. Like, this guy's crazy. Joey's going to get sued and lose his house. And, he's got a family. This guy's nuts. Don't use him anymore. Call the police if he shows up. And so I had to call Strider, and I'm like, dude, you got to go over to my mom's house and talk my grandma off the ledge. Like, she's literally going to go nuts. And so, of course, he does. He goes over there, and she calls me after he leaves. Oh, that Strider, he's such a lovely man. He's so great, and blah, blah. And then from then on out, every time I talk to my grandma, I'd call her every Sunday. Yaya, how are you? It's Joey. Oh, I'm great. How's Strider doing? It was the first thing out of her mouth. Not how are you? Not how are your kids? So it was, yeah, good times.
So, Joe, just to kind of switch gears just a little bit, we all hear, like, all the time, all over social media or at shows, cards subject to change. It happens. It's indie wrestling. You kind of have to go through that. So I'm thinking back to the best ones that I've seen, card subject to change matches, and nothing will ever top. I guess what I should say is, so DWF had a tag team match, their first show, and it was the Premier versus two guys from Michigan. Now, I'm not going to use their names because I don't want to bury them, but
yeah,
they didn't show up. Howlett's come in. So the Howlett's faced the Premier, and now that's taken off just to the moon. Did you ever foresee that happening with these two tag teams? You kind of have one come fill in and be like, oh, yeah, they're here to fill in. And then all of a sudden there's this huge rivalry.
Yeah. So Strider, I can say yes. For me, a lot of the crew that we use now, I wasn't familiar with. I knew of them and had seen, clips of them and watched matches of theirs, but like to have like a super intimate knowledge of what, of them. Now I've gotten to be, pretty good friends with all of them. And then they're all fantastic guys. But that match was a call in. Strider called in a favor. He was like, I called the Howlets, so we're good. Don't worry about it. And they're awesome. He was like, he really put them over. And I'm like, dude, your word is good for, you say they're good. I'm fine with it. I trust Strider in that regard. I in that regard, in pretty much every regard. But if Strider puts a stamp on somebody, it's good enough for me. Now, did we know that these two teams would get to where they're at? No, it's gotten pretty bad. It's gotten pretty bad, and it's to the point where they don't even in the locker room, they don't really sit by one another. They really don't want anything to do with one another except when they're beating the hell out of each other. But it has turned into one of those rivalries that I look at and I'm like, this is really good stuff. Like, this is just amazing stuff. Like that street fight was just bonkers.
Amazing.
Yeah. I've had people reach out to me. I won't say, I can't say names, but they were like, dude, what the hell are you guys doing out there? He's like, you're back at it again. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm back at it again. And that match was crazy. Those guys were good. Like Kansas City has always been a city of talent that has flown under the radar. And Strider and I are going to change that. That's for sure. We're wanting to get, as many eyeballs locally as we can to come to our shows, but we also want to get eyeballs from, we want to get some of that East Coast love and Southern California love, and we can. It's just, we're still just, I think 1 year is our 1 year is next month from the first DWF show to now. So we'll get there. This weekend, I'm telling you, this weekend is going to be not only for wrestling in Kansas City, but for our company. It's going to be a huge deal for us. And all the hard work and all the promoting and all the video work and everything that we've done, the advertising, everything, it's all come down to Saturday. And if you're listening and you don't have tickets, CSWtickets.com, get them all there. Get them while we have them, because this will sell out. We're going to get, the fire marshal's going to end up telling me that I can't sell any more tickets. I just, we've already been emailed a couple of times about it. Like, make sure. I'm like, okay, I will. So, yeah. We got a lot of cool things, meet and greet with Arn Anderson. We're giving away freaking NWA Television Championship replicas, not just one to a VIP ticket holder. We've got two of them. They're actually, let's see if I can show
you got them.
They're sitting right there. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So, yeah. And it's just a matter of people are like, what are you, why are you spending that much money? You got to spend money to make money,
Yep.
Absolutely. It's like when I started my own business, I had to spend a lot of money to get the things I need to be successful. So, we'll see. We've got a lot of exciting things lined up for, not only the rest of this year, and I'm talking show wise, but all through 2023. And then we've got a lot of things cooking. I wouldn't say a lot, but we've got a couple of really big things cooking that are company positive. Not necessarily, it'll bleed over into the show quality. But we've got, like I said, we've got a lot of really cool things cooking. The beautiful thing about working with Strider is, he and I think a lot alike. More oftentimes than not, he'll say something to me, he'll text me something, and then I'll text back, and he was like, I was just getting ready to say that, or vice versa. So we're kind of on the same wavelength, which is always nice. It certainly helps in a partnership. And then Trinity, who that dude is such a hustler, and I'm very thankful to have met him and to have him aboard. That guy breaks his ass every single show. Not only at the show, after the show, before the show. He's an integral part of the team. And Josh, our who handles our cameraman, does a fantastic job there. He knows what I like. We both have a film background, so we can talk to each other in that way, which is great for me because I can explain things a lot easier to someone who knows what I'm trying, knows what they're talking, knows what I'm talking about, and vice versa. We've got, even at the box office, Dan that comes in. Like, I'm so thankful for him. He takes the tickets, collects money. He does it, really well. And he's a super guy. And then, just like I said earlier, the talent, I'm thankful for the talent roster that we have. And I'm glad we're able to showcase and promote these guys because they're very talented and they deserve it. They deserve to be seen. So I'm going to do everything I can to get them seen because at the end of the day, that makes the company money. And that's what this is all about. It's about making money. It's about talent making money. It's about us making money and, putting on great shows. So, if those three things continue to happen, CSW will be around, we got to make money to put on great shows. And that's our, that's where we're at. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Trinity as well, because he was the one that originally reached out to us with the opportunity for us to kind of be the podcast sponsor of Horsemen Country. Something, we sat there at the first event. We were there at No Turning Back, and we were just starting the podcast. We saw the banners hanging up, and Chase and I looked at each other, and we're like, eventually, we want our banner hanging there. We didn't realize.
Yeah, and I'd be a complete asshole if I didn't thank our sponsors. I mean, not only the I-70 hot tag, the official podcast of Horsemen Country. You guys have been fantastic for us, and I've really liked cultivating this relationship with you guys and, wrangling talent to come onto the show and, promote the show and blah, 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 blah. And then we've got like Up Down KC, we've got Kincaid, we've got Bury the Hatchet, which is the official after party of Horsemen Country, Holnick, Stain, Garrigan, Levitt, the law firm of Holnick, Stain, Garrigan, Levitt, and Warriors Academy. I mean, without our sponsors' generosity, I don't know, CSW would look a bit different. I can say that much. We'd still exist and we'd still put on kick-ass shows, but because of our sponsors, that support just goes a long way. And that's any business that gets a sponsor is like great. So
right.
Thank you all. Thank you. If any of our sponsors, and I know Josh, you're right here, but if any of our sponsors are listening, thank you so very much. It really, really means a lot.
Absolutely. So let's run through this card. We got a huge event coming, man. We got some graphics we're going to kind of overlay. We'll be able to talk over them. So let's start with the matches that we were just talking about. Looks kind of goofy here. It's not fully stretched out, but we got SK Bishop with Roscoe Leach taking on Anaya Howlett in a singles match. Chase was asking, he's in here. Chiefs game must be fourth quarter. They got the backups in. So he's wanting to know when are we going to see a tag team match? Is this going to kind of cultivate into a another final tag team match between the two teams? He wants to know when they're going to see him again.
I mean, you're just going to have to buy a ticket or you're just going to have to wait and see. I will say that it's highly, highly likely these guys are not anywhere close to being done with one another. So it'll be interesting to see how this weekend shakes out with Bishop and Anaya, and then Hoodie and Campbell. I do know they're going to be really really fun matches. So what happens, I don't know. Where it leads to, we'll find out. These guys may tire of beating the piss out of one another. I don't think so. I just there's so much vitriol between the two tag teams, and we're gonna fire up. We're gonna be building our tag team division, and I'm really excited about that. Like we've got a great base right now, but I'm a big tag team wrestling guy. Like I love tag team wrestling, so I'm excited to see that all play out.
Yep.
You'll start seeing the tag team division get more in depth and expansive. I mean, you've seen a lot of the teams that we're going to use. The Howletts are definitely, like I said, they are the foundation. The Howletts, the premier. Then we've got technical difficulties and Grindhouse and those kind of guys. So I'm super excited about the tag team division.
Yeah, let's be honest; those guys may be injured after these matches. Hopefully
yeah, I don't even know. Like, if who knows? Yeah, I mean, like I can't say that. Knock on wood that none of them are injured, but Hoodie's going to try to kill Campbell. I mean, that's a fact that I have to accept. And Anaya, and they're off the four of them. They're all out of their minds. Like
crazy.
It reminds me. It reminds like the Howletts remind me of like two, like if Michael Strider, like if they were Striders, Hoodie and Anaya Strider. Like I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. These guys are all nuts. Like,
no wonder they got right.
Yeah. So let's move on to another match here. It's going to be pretty intriguing. It's the big strong boy, Ethan Price, is taking on the quad father, Camaro Jackson. And I will tell you what, before we get into this, that promo that Camaro sent in for this was fantastic. Him walking down the street in the middle of St. Louis. I think it was St. Louis, but
yeah,
that was awesome.
I messaged him. He got me that promo, and I'm like, I messaged him back. He was like, "Hey, I sent the promo. Did you get it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Why the fuck were you out playing in the street? He was like, "I just wanted to look different." I'm like, "That's awesome." Like those are the kind of guys that I like, like that are like always thinking about like different ways to present themselves and just like not just the same old. So Camaro is amazing. Like he had that match against was it Davey or Matt?
Grindhouse?
Yeah. And he did that. Was it, or maybe I'm just exhausted and maybe it wasn't really that. I don't know. But he fucking lifted one arm up and I was like, dude, this guy is insanely strong. I'm like, what the fuck? And then, Ethan, he's awesome too. Like, he gets under people's skin. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. It's going to be a fun match. But like, Ethan's another one of those guys that, like his promos, dude, they're so good and they're so funny and they're not like dumb funny. They're just, they're great, man. It's just that's going to be that's kind of, I think right now that's my sleeper match. Like I think that's going to be the one that people are going to be like, damn, that was badass. Right. I wasn't expecting that. Again, that's hard for me to say too. Like if you guys are like, hey, pick one match that you think is going to be the match of the night. Yeah. I can't because all the guys are ready for this show. Yep. They know how big it is and important it is for the company. So they're all going to be trying to steal that spotlight. Like everybody's going to be out to steal the show, and it's going to be difficult because it's a talented roster. There's a lot of talent in that locker room.
Yep. You got anything, Brian, before we move on?
I don't. I'm excited to see this match because I've seen Camaro the first match ever at the NWL Training Center with Kenny Alfonso when they were Alpha Omega, and I just saw both of them and said these guys are going to be stars, and they're proving it.
Absolutely.
And
Yep. So two guys we just recently had on the show. Arjun Singh and the Beer City Bruiser, who if you watch the show, he gave me all sorts of shit for my Jacksonville Jaguar helmet behind me.
Yeah.
Which hang on, let me bring this down. We got it. Go ahead and show Beer City Bruiser, Brian. What you got?
Well, I just wanted to show the Beer City Bruiser that Josh is not the only person that is a Jaguars fan. I have the original.
Man,
I gotta get off this podcast, man. It's a good thing you're sponsoring us, because I'd be like, hi, click. Jaguars, are you kidding me right now?
I'm a Chiefs fan first, but I fell in love with the Jaguars.
I can understand that. So Beer City, and so my first interaction with Beer City Bruiser was when did we have him in? Last show?
At the Rise of an Outlaw.
Yeah, and I picked him up from the airport, and because I live up here in Liberty, so I get stuck most of the time with airport duty, which is fine. He got in the car and we hit it off immediately. It was like, hey, dude, it was like we knew each other forever. And again, that was another one that Strider was like, dude, you're gonna love this guy. Like, you are gonna love this guy. And I was like, this guy's money. Like, he's amazing. Arjun, he actually reached out to Strider, and then Strider was like, hey, I've got this guy booked, Arjun Singh. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, your word is gold, whatever. And when I met him, I was just blown away by him. I was like, this guy he's got a great look, he's, takes everything very seriously. Like, as far as wrestling, it's his passion. It's what he wants to do. So he's always looking to better himself. And, just getting to know him, he would message me on Facebook, like, hey, Joe, I've got some ideas for some promos that I wanted to run by you. So he's constantly thinking, and that's what it takes. You got to always be thinking and trying to come up with stuff that other people aren't doing. I got with him and I was like, yo, this is how I want to present you. Like, this is my idea for you. I went to Strider and I said, I got this idea for Arjun. Like, I want to present him like, what was his name? The from WWE, he was in WWE. The Mexican guy. He played like a rich Mexican guy. I'm drawing a blank for the life of me.
Yeah.
He was in MMA, whatever. I don't know, but like his he had his own ring announcer too. Like, he'd come out and the guy would do his like introduction for him.
Alberto Del Rio.
Yes. God, why couldn't I think? I just watched an interview with him the other day. Yeah. So I'm like, sorry, I'm tired. I'm like, that's how I want to present. I want you to be the Indian version of Alberto Del Rio. Like, what is like aristocrat? How do you say aristocrat in Indian? And he was like, Rehis. I'm like, that's it. Like, you are, we're past that whole, making the Latino world order ride to the ring on a fucking, lawnmower, and just all the stereotypes. And, and I've never done that type of gimmick with anybody, but specifically with him, representation for him matters. And that was important to me. It was like, A, do you like this? B, I know you can do it, but I want you to like it. I want to present you as, everybody in Overland Park is beneath you, and really everywhere. Americans are beneath you, and even Indians are beneath you. There's economic classes in India, like, you're above everybody and you don't give a shit about anybody except yourself and your pocketbook. And so, yeah, that match is going to be fun. It's such a contrast of styles that I'm really looking forward to it.
It's going to be a good match.
Yeah, for sure.
And we talked about your sleeper pick. I think this next match here is going to be my pick for sleeper. One of my favorite wrestlers here, Mike Outlaw, is taking on Luke Langley, Black Diamond Luke Langley. So
yeah, Luke, my interactions with Luke have been fairly limited. I think he's coming for us twice.
Yep.
And both times he's impressed. Like he's a total pro. I'm hopeful that we can get him on some more shows going forward on a more consistent basis. But that guy's money. Mike Outlaw, come on, dude. That guy's a beast. Like he just goes and goes and goes, and the crowd loves him, and kids love him, and that it's another one of those matches where it's just like, yeah, you're gonna see some wrestling, but you're also gonna see two guys beating the hell out of one another. Like it's gonna be good. I mean, really any of these matches could be a main event.
Agreed.
It could, we could plug any of these matches into any card and have it be our main event, and have it be a drawing main event, to where people will be like, I got to see that. That's awesome.
Yep.
So yeah, this is, it is Horseman Country is a stacked card, top to bottom.
I've seen a lot of Luke Langley, and honestly, to me, he's a lot like Jeremy Wyatt. I think he's a lot overlooked, but he's got talent. It's there. He's shown.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That he does remind me of Wyatt in some aspects. And that's not a bad thing, not at all.
Right. All right. So toward the end here, guys, we got one match here. This is Luigi Primo, huge fan favorite. And the guy that one of our first podcasts that we did, we brought a non-wrestling fan to No Turning Back. And his most memorable moment was seeing Luigi Primo wrestle. And we talked a lot. We've talked a lot about that event and that show. And we've talked about, kind of hooking the audience and hooking new fans. And that event right there hooked our friend to where he looked at us and said, you guys better bring me to the next event. And he's coming to Horseman Country. He's going to be there.
Nice.
So, and he's super excited for this, to see Luigi again. And obviously the connoisseur Niles Planquet, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, should be a fun match.
Yeah. Luigi was a Trinity talent find. He was like, dude, you got to see this guy. He does this pizza gimmick. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he was like, here, look. And on YouTube, well, it turns out that I've seen him before, like, I don't know, on TikTok or something, way before Trinity. Like, but I just, at the time I wasn't doing anything with wrestling. And I actually sent it to my brother. That's a little bit older than me. He owns a bunch of restaurants out east, and he had a pizza restaurant. I'm like, dude, you got to hire this guy. Like, book this guy to come out and twirl this dough. Like, look at this. It's like he does it under his leg and shit. And then I found out that I'm like, oh shit, he's actually a wrestler too. Like, what the hell? Like, this is amazing. And I knew that we knew that the Kansas City fans were going to like him because it's a great gimmick. But I can't speak for Trinity or Strider on this. I didn't realize just how over he would get, like, and so fast. Editing the shows, you hear the pop live, and you're like, all right, yeah, good, they like him. But then editing the shows, I'm seeing a lot of the same clips over and over and over again, and it never ceases to amaze. Like, Jesus, that pop that he gets when he comes out, the people love him. They love him, and they're behind him, which is great. And then you've got on the opposite end of the ring, you got Niles, who I've known Niles forever. And he has gone, you guys had him on, and he talked about his gimmicks and all that stuff. And for that first DWF show, that tournament that to crown the champion, it was the first time I'd seen Niles in several years. And, great big hug. How you doing? I'm like, Niles, dude, this gimmick is so perfect for you. Like, I'm so happy you found your gimmick. Like, after all these years, like, this is the one. Like, this is so awesome. And he was like, oh, thank you. And I'm like, yeah, dude, it's great too. It's a great gimmick. And it's not just a gimmick. A lot of guys will do, that's all they are, is their gimmick, and then they get in the ring and they suck. Niles can go. Like, yep. Make no mistake about it. He's, in my opinion, Niles is probably one of the most underrated talents in probably the country. Like, the dude is so good, like just a student of the game, and can go with any kind of style. Like it doesn't matter who's across from him. He'll do it and it'll look great. Like he can adapt, which is, fantastic. Plus, for the younger guys that are in the locker room, it's another ear, another kind of veteran that can help them along. And then another person that Strider and I can kind of rely on to make sure things are going okay in the back, and handle any pop-ups that any little fires that pop up that Strider and I can't get to right away, or Trinity can't get to right away. So he's amazing. Going to be a good match.
Going to be a very good match. And you were saying the pop with Luigi. I've been at every show helping or whatever. And just that second time that Luigi was there, I had to go out to my car for something. When I came back in, they were lining up to get in.
Yeah.
4 guys with aprons on with Luigi's name on them. And that was his second show. So I was like, this guy has Kansas City in the palm of his hand.
Yeah, he really truly does, and that's awesome. And it's so much fun. And he that first big, I think it was the second show he worked for us, is when he got that really huge pop. And now each show since that he's been on, he's gotten that same pop. But that first one, he came into the back and he was kind of emotional about it, like, oh my God, like that was so freaking cool, and like, oh my God. And it's like, man, you're over, man. And the thing about Kansas City fans is, and I'm not just saying wrestling fans, Kansas City fans, period. Once we get behind you, we're behind you through thick and thin, and we like to see our guys do good. And Luigi is now one of Kansas City's guys, so it just works out well.
He was really emotional. I talked to him after that too, and he's like, I can't believe they did that. He's like, did you see that before? I said, yeah, I saw them when they were coming in. He's like, man, I almost cried.
Yeah. Cool. And that's cool, man. I like when the boys are like, they get excited, because a lot of these guys have seen it all and experienced it all. So for something to get to them, like, to a member of our roster where they're like, God, that was so good. Like, and the crowd was there. Like, that's, it makes me happy for them. It makes me excited for them. Like, I'm happy, I'm happy that you're happy, and I'm happy that you like being here, and, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
Nope. So, just 2 more matches, guys. And this one is a crazy one we've talked about many times. And Clash of the Titans, we've dubbed it. A match that could main event any independent promotion in the country, in my opinion. And that's Moonshine Mantell against Dak Draper for the first time ever, which still shocks us every single time we see it. We cannot believe this is the first time that they're going one-on-one together in the same ring. So talk to us a little bit about this one. This is going to be a powerhouse match.
Yeah, so it shocks me too. Even hearing you say it right now, it's like, how is this possible? Like, how have Dak and Moonshine not like ever worked, ever, period? Like, not just CSW or in Kansas City, anywhere. Like, how is that possible? I mean, these 2 guys, you have 2 pieces of talent that it's criminal they're not in AEW or WWE. It boggles my mind. And I could say that for, a lot of talent, but with these 2 guys, I can say it and not mean it about a lot of guys, but with these 2 guys, it's just like, it's shocking that they're not in WWE or developmental, down at NXT or AEW. Like, it makes no sense to me. On the flip side of that, glad they're not, because they're in CSW, and I'm putting on, we're putting on this banger of a match that, first time ever,
Yep.
This, like you said, this literally could be a main event. This match, and I said this up for all the matches, but this match could literally main event Deal with the Steel, like my WrestleMania show. Like, I have that much faith in it, and knowing Dak, getting to know Dak over these last, since January when he started in, and then getting to know Moonshine since the first DWF show. these guys are business, like, and that's what I look for in talent is, are they business? Are they about their brand? Are they protective of their brand? Because I don't want to make a video of, and spend a lot of time doing it, conceptualizing it, storyboarding it, and then actually creating it. Those videos that I do, to kind of put a pin in the DAC talk, those videos that I do are very labor intensive. And everything that you see, it didn't exist before I created it. So it gives you an idea of, just how long it takes. I don't want to spend that time doing that for guys that don't care or don't understand their brand or whatever, because it's counterproductive.
Right.
Like I've done them for Wyatt, I've done them for Outlaw, I've done them for Neil and our big matches, and it's because these guys get it. They understand their brand, and they protect, and some more so than others, but they protect their brand, and that's super important as a wrestler. You can't dilute your value. If you're diluting your value, why should I book you if your value is nothing?
Right.
And we're fortunate that our roster gets that, but these two guys, Dak and Moonshine, they're just business. And, not only that, they're great guys, but they're going to be one another. I talked about the Howletts and their singles matches, respective singles matches with the Premier. Those guys beating the piss out of one another. This is a hoss fight, and it's going to be awesome. And it's I posted it on Facebook. This match is going to be worth the price of admission alone. I can guarantee you that. There's these guys have put a lot of pressure on themselves to deliver in this match, and they will. There's no doubt in my mind, and I have the utmost confidence in their ability to deliver on what's sure to be an epic match. Like these guys are going to go in there and have a great match, and I'm quite frankly really excited about it.
Yep.
That'll be the one match that I'll probably sit down and watch, or at least try to. I say that, but you're always putting out fires in the day of the show, and I always try to watch at least a little bit of everybody's match, but I have to edit them too, so I end up I'll end up watching the show before it's fully edited in full. I'll probably have watched it 40 times before it gets posted to YouTube. So once I'm done with the show, I'm done with it. Like I won't revisit it for a long time. Like there's old CSW stuff that I still like, great stuff that I haven't watched in a long, long time, just because you edit the same stuff over and over again and see it so much. It's like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm over it now.
Yep.
But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, this match is going to be a certified banger, as my son says. So, as the young kids say,
as the youngins,
and the Premier, I've heard Campbell say that too. Certified banger. I'm like, I don't know what that means. I'm old, dude.
Brian, you got anything on this match before we move on to the main event?
I'm excited to see it. I love Jack Draper, and what a great guy I think he is. Moonshine is the real deal, and I think I can't even project a winner in this at all, because it's going to be good.
Yeah, when Strider told me that, I keep going back to this, but when Strider told me, he was like, yeah, we got Dak and Moonshine, and I'm like, ooh, that's going to be good. And he was like, they've never worked before. I'm like, what, in Kansas City? And he was like, nah, ever, like anywhere. And I'm like, what? How does that even make sense? Like, what? He was like, nah, this is the first. I'm like, yes, it's so great.
Yeah, when you guys first posted that's what Chase and I thought was for the first time ever in CSW, because surely they've wrestled before, and no, you're getting it for the very first time on Saturday.
Yeah, and then you got Greg Jovi, That might be the difference maker in this match.
Right.
Greg's done things that we've all seen that he'll go above and beyond for the guy he's managing. Especially Moonshine, or specifically Moonshine. So a referee's going to have his hands full. That is for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right.
The fans will definitely win with that match. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
100%. Yeah. All right, guys. Main event time, or one of the 8 main events we've got on the card. We got the tag team match. Jeremy Wyatt, Vic Capri taking on Brock Anderson, Ace Steel, with, of course, the enforcer, Arn Anderson. Man, there's so much to say about this, man. This is
awesome. There's so much to say, and it's like also, what else can you say? Like, it speaks for itself. I mean, come on, Arn Anderson, dude's, a certified legend. Brock Anderson, his son, the Andersons are AEW stars. I mean, they're. It's not like we're dusting off a legend and that's been off TV. I mean, Arn and Brock Arn's still out there doing it. I mean, he's threatening people with his Glock on national TV. It's gangster, man. Arn Anderson's the man. What do you say? I mean, the dude created the Horsemen. Come on, and he's gonna be at CSW. Like, are you kidding me? Like, Ace Steel. The dude trained. Ace Steel has been to Japan. He's been all over the United States. He's had his hands in training some of the best talent that has come down the pipeline in a while. Jeremy Wyatt. I mean, Vic Capri. Him and Ace know each other really well from Chicago, the Chicago area, and you got 4 guys that are going to be in that ring. On their team, for their teams, of course. This is a statement match. Wyatt and Vic are going out there to make a statement. There's no doubt in my mind. Ace and Brock are going out there to make a statement. These statements are different for each team. I think I'm not 100% sure. I can't speak for Ace, but I just based off the promos that he sent us, his statement is that you done messed up, Jeremy Wyatt. You done messed up, Vic Capri, and now you're going to get your comeuppance. This is exactly what he said, and that's the statement he wants to make. He wants to beat the champion, and he wants to beat him bad. And Jeremy Wyatt and Vic Capri, not only do they want to beat Ace and Brock, but they want to do it in front of Arn Anderson. They want to humiliate. They're out to humiliate this team. I know it. I just know it. And we'll see what happens. Again, if you haven't gotten your tickets, put that banner up. CSWtickets.com. Get those tickets. I can't stress that enough. You're going to kick yourself if you miss the show. It's setting the stage for everything that's going to come out of this. And I don't know, I'm speculating, if this match goes this way and this match goes that way, but this match goes this way, and then it turns that into this. So coming out of this show is going to be insanity. Like just the fallout from this, the ramifications from this, not only this tag team match, but every match has it's like a butterfly effect, and every match has its own butterfly effect, but that butterfly effect is colliding with everybody else's. So it's really gonna, be a good one. Like I said, I'm super excited for this card, and it's been a lot of hard work by the team to get down to this last 48 hours now.
Yeah.
In 48 hours the show will be pretty much close to being over. Now, in 48 hours, do you want to be kicking yourself going, man, I should have gone to Horsemen Country? No. So get those damn tickets. CSWtickets.com, buddy. They're right there at the bottom. You can get that link. We've still got some tickets left. And typically the way things trend with us is that we put tickets on sale. and we have that initial surge, and then it kind of dies down in between the weeks in between the show, to where you're still selling, you're just not selling as many as that peak was that first day. And then usually the last week of the show, that starts climbing back up, and you can see it. It's on a graph, like on our ticket program. Starts climbing up. Thursday and Friday, it totally spikes. Boom, boom, boom. And then Saturday, walk up, and then online sales. If you don't, what I'm trying to say is, if you don't get your tickets, and you wait to get into the door, I don't know. It's not a chance I'd be willing to take. But I'll get you in there by hook or by crook. If you show up at the door on Saturday and you ain't got a ticket, I'll figure out how to get a seat in there for you. So
there you go.
And
why stress about it? Get your tickets at CSWtickets.com right now. You can do it. Get that debit credit card out. Beep, beep, beep. You're done. It's easy.
Just looking at that graphic back to the match, let's say you bring in Brock Anderson and you have him with a steel. At any other promotion, or most other promotions, usually in a match like this, you'll have someone in there and you're like, oh, well, this guy not quite as good as the other three guys, so they're at a disadvantage. All four of these guys are legit. All four of these guys have put on certified bangers, and they're going to throw down, it's going to be a hell of a match.
Yeah, Brock would be the the youngest of the three that are in this match.
Mm-hmm.
But the amount of experience that he's been able to get, his dad's Arn Anderson. You don't become a pro wrestler with a dad like Arn Anderson and not know anything about wrestling. But you look at some of the talent that he's out there working with. It's the type of talent that you just get better at working. You're constantly getting better and constantly learning. So with the quality of talent that he's working with, and also being under the tutelage of his dad and Ace Steel and the guys in the AEW locker room, it's like his career is just blowing up. His knowledge is he's absorbing a lot faster than a typical wrestler would. Just a regular indie. So the experience he's probably gotten in the last 3 or 4 years is probably 8 or 9 years worth of experience for anybody else. So you're absolutely right that all 4 of these guys are, very capable of what they're doing.
For sure. So Raz asks, and we know the answer is no, but he wants to know if he can watch Horsemen Country live because he's over in Australia.
Unfortunately, no, we don't do any live streaming just yet. It's something we have talked about. It's just a matter of getting I'm pretty particular about production. It's kind of my wheelhouse, doing the video editing, all that stuff. So once we pull that trigger, we want to make sure that, it looks as good as our events that are up on YouTube do, no flaws in the cutting and doing a proper, anybody can put their stuff up on a live feed, but to do it properly and professionally, it's very difficult. It takes a talented crew. It takes people that actually know what they're doing, as opposed to, just plugging something in and doing it just because they can. And that's certainly not a knock on any company out there that's doing that. But for me, again, I come from a production background, very, very particular about how things are presented and how things look. And until I'm confident that we can get to that point, then, it's just going to be shows up on YouTube as soon as we can get them up on YouTube. But eventually we'll get our shows up streaming.
Fantastic. Well, that kind of does it, man. We're kind of cut the card in half there. We talked about the entire event, 48 hours away. CSWtickets.com for those of you who do not have your tickets yet. By the way, what are you waiting for? you should have already got your tickets already. We've been promoting it for for
Like,
6-8 weeks now.
Yeah, it seems like 2 years. It seems like this has been like 2 years. Like,
Right.
oh, I'm ready.
It is crazy because it does, for us, I talk about it, I got mixed up because we talked about with Moonshine. I said something and I said, yeah, it was, 6 weeks ago. And he goes, no, it's only been 3 weeks. And I'm, just everything seems like this whole process. It's been awesome, man. And cannot wait for this deal. And should be a hell of a show, man. Yeah.
It's gonna be a good one. I know that. I don't know a lot, but I know this show is gonna kick ass.
Hell yeah. Well, Joe, I appreciate you taking the time out, man. We'll we'll see you on Saturday. And,
yeah, for sure. We'll see you guys on Saturday, and everybody else, get some tickets. If you already got them, we'll see you Saturday. If you're still on the fence, I did my best.
All right, buddy.
All right, fellas. We'll talk.
All right, see you later.
See you.
Right, man. That was it. Joe McDonald, co-owner CSW. So we are 48 hours away, Brian.
I'm excited. Joe's such a good dude. I've known Joe now for almost a year, and we hit it off right away. He said I was promoting the show yesterday on Twitter, and he said, "Oh, I'm not that exciting." I mean, he just proved himself wrong, right? He's a good interview. Dude,
that was awesome, man. Like, he had a lot of good stories. He went in depth, which we love. We had Michael Strider on, I just told them I get my weeks mixed up. However long ago, Michael Strider was on, and he did the same thing, man. We'd ask him a question, and he went extremely in depth with the answer. And that's what we want here, man. Like the guests that come on and only give 1 or 2 word answers. That's not fun for the viewers or the listeners. I'm really glad that he was able to kind of elaborate on some of the, the beginning of CSW and the entire event. So, all right, guys. So we're at that point where we take a quick 5-minute break. We are going to come back. We do have some news topics. We're going to kind of stick with the same format as we did last week. We're not going to run down an entire card like we previously have done. We've got multiple promotions from, Western Kansas all the way over to St. Louis, covering both Kansas and Missouri. Got some news, some match announcements. So stay tuned here. We'll be back in about 5 minutes to run down that. So we'll see you guys here in 5. Kansas City has a new name in the pizza game. You Want a Pizza Me is Kansas City's only pro wrestling themed pizza food truck. Located across from the Black Box Theater in the West Bottoms, You Want a Pizza Me is dedicated to serving delicious flame-grilled pizzas named in homage to pro wrestling. Come try the High Flyer, El Luchador, Greener Than Grass, and their newest bestseller, The Undertaker. Regular and vegan options are available. They're also dedicated to getting you to eat your healthy vegetables with their selection of salads. Look for the big man in the luchador mask. Follow them at You Want a Pizza Me KC on social media. Kansas City is a top pro wrestling city, and You Want a Pizza Me is your spot for knockout, top-of-the-card pizza. Come get some. All right, welcome back, guys. Appreciate you guys sticking with us. For those of you who are still with us, we just talked to Joe McDonald, co-owner, correcting myself, co-owner of Central States Wrestling. Great guy. Cannot wait to see him out there at the Camelot Ballroom this Saturday, August 27th. So should be fun there. Dad the Trainer. Hosting the stream. Appreciate that, Dad the Trainer. We got a stream hoster for 11 viewers. I appreciate you hosting it here. What's up, Raz? Appreciate you sticking around, guys. Those of you who are hosting here are probably used to seeing Chase. Chase went to the Chiefs preseason game, so he is at Arrowhead Stadium or on his way home. I'm not sure if the game's over yet or not. But we're here. We got my special co-host, Bryan J. Bebe, joining us, and we kind of tagged him in kind of last second. So, man, Joe McDonald, man, what an interview.
Great interview. I wanted to say, I know, I think I did a pretty good job of filling Chase's shoes. However, I don't think I can fill his jersey very well.
It would be pretty hard to fill that jersey. Not sure what size jersey that is, but you can sure try.
I could try, but I'd still probably.
It might be a blank. You can wear it as a night. You can wear it as a nightgown.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate Dad the Trainer, guys. We got a big raid here. Chase isn't here to experience this. I appreciate everybody coming in here. This is the I-70 hot tag. We are live here talking Kansas City, Kansas and Missouri independent wrestling. Appreciate that, Dean. Appreciate you sticking around. Yeah, guys, hit that like, share button on Twitch. Make sure you guys like the stream and hit the follow button on Twitch. I think there's a follow button. So you guys can subscribe and get notified anytime CRMedia 1988 goes live. So again, this is every Thursday. We talk about Kansas and Missouri wrestling, and we're gonna start doing that now, guys. Chase and I have mentioned that we can. Chase says nobody can fit. It's custom made for Chase.
I wouldn't really want to wear it, man.
So Chase and I have talked at length of going. Our next event that we're going to attend after CSW Horsemen Country is going to be Glory Pro at the Pageant 2, which the first time at the Pageant was fantastic. That was a couple months ago, but they did make an announcement, and we have a graphic here to show you. They have a match announcement that they made just recently. Tag team match. They're going to have Delirious and Matt Seidel taking on Dan the Dad and Warhorse. This match is going to be fantastic. I absolutely love Warhorse. What are your thoughts on him?
I love Warhorse. He's really coming to his own, and it's fun to see where he's going. Honestly, I like Dan the Dad as well. I think he's fun to watch. Talented wrestler. They're going to be a fun tag team to watch. But Matt Seidel, man, he's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely love Matt, man. We just he was just in UUCW over in Wichita about a week or so ago. Had a fantastic match over there. He's now over in St. Louis now, so we're going to see them live. Are you familiar with Delirious?
I'm not so much familiar with Delirious. I've never really just caught any of their stuff. So.
Okay, so I'm kind of the same way. I know he was in ROH and he had a stint in Impact. So I wanted to kind of look him up a little bit and kind of get some more information on him. And I found it funny when I typed in the Google machine Delirious. So I'm going to read this to you. This is what Google's description or definition of Delirious, the wrestler, is. He's an American professional wrestler, better known by his name Delirious. He is known for his outrageous antics, such as running around aimlessly and screaming wildly when the opening bell rings, and speaking in a rambling and most incoherent fashion.
See, now you make me want to go watch him.
Yeah, man, I'm excited now, man. This guy sounds extremely entertaining.
That sounds hilarious, and I would totally watch that.
For sure, man. Again, appreciate it, Dad the Trainer. I mean, Chase is here just in the chat, so he is being entertained by Bryan and I. So again, appreciate it. So let's shift gears, guys. So I'm going to look over at NWA 74. They're having an event on August 27th and 28th, which is this coming weekend. Not to overshadow Horsemen Country, but I did want to kind of call this out. If you follow Camaro Jackson or Mike Outlaw on Twitter or on social medias, they've been cutting fantastic promos on each other. And they both have been tagging NWA in each promo. They don't specifically say it in their promos, but when they post it, it's at NWA. So I'm thinking what's going to happen, because both men are going to be at Horseman Country on the 27th. What I'm thinking is going to happen is they're going to turn around and drive back to St. Louis for that NWA event on the 28th, and they're going to have a match against each other. NWA.
That same thing. Only I think they're going to be driving back in different cars. I don't think they'll be together.
Yeah, they won't. Yeah, I got to keep kayfabe and not act like you like each other.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah. So, two fantastic wrestlers. We have, I absolutely love both of these guys. Mike Outlaw is tearing through St. Louis. He's running through Glory Pro, and now he's going to be in NWA. And I have grown to love the Quad Father, as have Chase, and he can attest to this in the chat.
Like I said, I saw his first match it was a student show with Kenny Alfonso, and I just saw in them both. I was like, they're going to be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that should, I'm not sure. I'm getting some feedback. Sorry. I'm not sure of the entire NWA card, but that's going to be very intriguing to watch that one. So
I haven't looked it up yet, but I'm going to.
Okay. Good deal. So, shifting a little bit over to Springfield, Missouri, we talked about the new promotion that's kind of taking over for ICWF, which is closing down or going on hiatus, is what they called it. Their social media is shutting down, so we're not going to be able to, within the next week or so, we're not going to see anything ICWF anymore. But they've opened a promotion called Show Me Pro Wrestling, which I absolutely love that name. It just embodies the state of Missouri. Be it, as we've heard a lot of companies and a lot of wrestlers and promoters talk about how they hate the Missouri Athletic Commission. Rightfully so. We've also heard some promoters say, it's not that bad. It's just a couple more hoops to jump through. So some promoters bill it out to be extremely terrible. Some say, it's not that bad. So it's probably somewhere in the middle. But Show Me Pro Wrestling, man, it starts up in November is their first show. October, end of October is when their first show is, and they've announced their first match. And their first match is going to be the former or the final ICWF champion, which they're not going to recognize that. But Mighty Micah is going to take on Nathan Estrada. And this is happening in Republic, Missouri, at CrossFit Republic on October 22nd. So I ask you, let's talk about Mighty Micah for a little bit. What's your thoughts on Micah?
I love the dude. I absolutely, he's one of the guys that I'll always push. I've known him though since he was probably sophomore in high school. And just seeing his growth and getting into pro wrestling, the dude's done nothing but get better and better and more over and over. All the promotions you see him in, he's getting over. And one day, as Chase just said, he will be a Howlett. I have full faith in that.
Man, speaking of that, we got a Journey Pro event. I'm going off script. Chase knows I like to do this. Chase does it to me all the time, so I'm going off script to you. You're Mighty Howlett, Micah Howlett.
Yes, sir.
This guy has been asking the Howletts to be a Howlett for what now? Day 100, day 200. I don't know.
300.
Yeah, it's on and on. And then we talked about it last week. I wanted to get your opinion here. We talked about how Journey Pro is going to have, the Premier taking on Jeremy Wyatt and Justin Fowler at tomorrow night at Weekend at Journeys. When the real match is a trios match that we want to we want that, the bitch brigade, like Hoodie likes to call them, against the Howletts, which includes Micah Howlett. So what's your, what are your thoughts about this upcoming match at Journey Pro and the whole Howlett deal with Micah?
I think, and this is just me thinking, I don't know how they're actually thinking, but I'm pretty sure that Hoodie is in with Micah. I think Hoodie would take Micah in right now. I think Anaya's still kind of holding out, but maybe after that last show, maybe he just wants to see a little something more. Because he did come out and kind of say Micah at that last show. So I see it happening. It's just they're not all three on the same page yet. But yeah, the money's there. If they book that, or if Anaya decides to let them in, it'll happen. And I have full faith that it'll happen one day.
I agree. I 100% agree. And, Hoodie said something about Micah needs to show that fire, that passion. He needs to turn it up. He needs to drop. He didn't specifically say he needs to drop the superhero, but he he needs to ramp it up. And we saw a little bit of that last month when he rushed to the ring with that steel chair.
I think we saw it the month before when he was taking on Fowler then. And yeah, I think Mike is going to bring it to him.
Yep. So, all right. So moving on here. So there was a tweet from AEW, one of the best tag teams or the best tag team. It's arguable to tell me any other tag team that's better than FTR. But Dax Harwood tweeted out, and I've got it here. Wanted to say, he was basically saying that he has an opportunity to work one singles match for an independent wrestling show. And he's trying to find the right opponent for that match. And of course, the very opinionated, the guy who crashed our live here an hour ago, whatever. Still not sure how he can break through come into this stream without an invite, because I have to send you the link to get here. But nevertheless, Jeremy Wyatt expressed his interest in nominating himself, of course, to take on Dax, because nobody kicks out of his Coronation Pile Driver. So, man, could you imagine seeing Dax Harwood versus Jeremy Wyatt?
See that match right there would just print money. I mean, I don't like talking about it as a business, which it is, but man, you sell so many tickets for that match. As bad as Jeremy Wyatt is, he's a wonderful technical wrestler. He's really good. That would just be an amazing match to me. I'm all for it. And I even said that, I think, in the replies. But yeah, even Fred Yehai, would be, if you haven't watched Yehai in the hour-long match with Jeremy Wyatt, I highly recommend it. Or even go back and watch him at Journey Pro when they were at the bar. That match was amazing. You know what? If Jeremy Wyatt gets this match, maybe Dax gives him a pile driver and knocks some sense into him.
I would love to see it.
Probably won't, but
yeah.
I think it's an amazing match, personally.
I agree. So, not to put you on the spot, but if it's not Jeremy Wyatt, let's just say you could pick any other independent wrestler in our area to take on Dax Harwood in this match, who would you pick to take him on? Who do you think would give the best match?
That's tough, because I have a lot of friends in the wrestling business working with CSW, Journey Pro, Anarchy. I would have to say I'm going to go with a young guy here, because he's one of my favorite people and one of my favorite wrestlers. I'm going to go Kenny Alfonso.
I have no argument there. That's who I was thinking of as well.
He's just fire right now. I mean, he is. Good.
That man is going to be holding gold at some point very soon, whether or not it's in Central States or Journey Pro. I guess he doesn't. I don't know if he's ever wrestled in CSW or not, but has he?
Yeah.
He has. Okay, so Journey Pro, and he's obviously running through St. Louis as well. So, Kyle, this is not a guest. This is the co-host.
I'll answer that for you if you want.
Go ahead and tell Kyle, who's your favorite wrestler of all time.
Of all time, it's got to be Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
That's fantastic. Appreciate you joining in, Kyle. Yeah, man, we already had our interview. We interviewed CSW owner Joe McDonald. So we're just kind of running through the card here, or not card, but the news stories. Sorry, getting all mixed up here. Yeah, I couldn't argue the Kenny Alfonso choice. Again, that's who I probably would have picked. That's the first name that came to my mind. I do really enjoy Gary J as well. I don't know that he would be the right fit against Dax, but I do think that Gary J is a fantastic performer and would do well on a national scale, kind of like, maybe going up to like an AEW, something like that. But he's unsigned and he don't care.
Yeah. Even, I wanted to say a whole bunch of other people, but, I'm looking at mentioning styles, and I just think Kenny would work the best.
Yep. Yeah, appreciate that, Greg. Appreciate this is the official polo of the I-70 hot tag, or just a polo from Amazon that my sister put the logo on. So not for sale, not for resale. And Brian's hat, you're looking good too.
Appreciate that. My hat is from an old place we used to work out, and it closed because of the pandemic. But I got a couple hats out of the deal, so I'm gonna still wear them.
You know what, Chase Riley, I know you're on the chat here. You've been talking about trying to become affiliate here on Twitch for a long time. I think what's going to happen is this episode, the Chaseless episode, is gonna get him to affiliate. I have a feeling he's gonna log in tomorrow, and the feed's gonna refresh, and it's gonna say welcome to Twitch affiliate, and it's gonna be because of the I-70 hot tag on August 25th. Man, I love it. All right, let's move on, guys. Got a few more topics to cover before we knock this thing out. So, St. Louis Anarchy, which does fantastic events month after month. I really wish it was not a 4.5-hour drive to Alton, Illinois, where I can just go to their events more easily.
Mm-hmm.
But they have already a few matches booked. They've got Billy Starks taking on Matt Fitchett, which, God, I wish I was there to see that. Love Matt Fitchett, and I have loved what I've seen of Billy Starks.
Yeah, that's going to be an amazing match. I mean, yeah. But in all honesty, 4.5 hours to go see that show, it's well worth it. Matt Jackson,
sure.
Awesome job. Yeah, that's going to be a great match. But, I mean, then they announced this Jeremy Wyatt, Kenny Alfonso.
Yeah.
That's the match right there. I think
that's a main event, and any promotion, like we said about the Moonshine and Dak, that's a main event in any local promotion.
Absolutely.
And I can't tell you, man. The role that Kenny Alfonso's been on, I can't pick against him. As much as Wyatt has kind of ruled Kansas City wrestling for the past 6 years, 7, for his entire career pretty much, but he's really been rolling through it for the last 6. I can't pick against Kenny, man. He's on fire.
I never bet against him.
Yeah.
And that's not just from knowing him. That's from seeing his talent. It's just, he's good.
Yep. Chase wants to know when you and him are going to go to St. Louis Anarchy.
I mean, we'll have to sit down and pick out a date.
Yeah, it's not a sporadic kind of decision there. That's a long drive. Now, if we want to go to like Sedalia for like a New Breed or a Springfield maybe for Show Me Wrestling, something like that, where you can make it a day trip maybe or a night trip, I guess. But that's
Chase. We'll talk about it on Saturday.
There you go. Meet him on Saturday, Chase. Meet him on Saturday. Okay. KCXW. We talked off backstage before we went live. We're gonna go on October 15th to Destiny. You expressed interest in potentially going to that. Hopefully you'll be able to join us for the event.
It'd be fun.
But this will be our first KCXW event, and they released just recently a new T-shirt design for this event. So you can buy it from the KCXW Facebook page. You got to reach out to, I'm not sure what her name is off the top of my head, but if you log into their Facebook, you'll be able to see her post, and you can buy it through there. So you can see here, cool looking design. I love the KCXW logo. It's just very well done, but you can see Ryan the Infinite's kind of, headlining this, as well as El Diablo, I believe that's Shylin on the far right. So,
I like it.
And Dean Houston, if he's still in here, he can correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's Shylin. So, pretty cool looking shirt, guys. For a pretty big event. The last event that the KCXW put on at Soccer Nation was a sellout, and they ran out of chairs. So it was very well perceived, and they're probably expecting another sellout. So if you guys want tickets, just like Joe's saying on Horseman Country, you're going to need to buy early, because if you walk up, most likely you're not going to have a chair. It's going to be standing room only, which could be fun. Standing for 3 hours. Yeah, Chase and I stood for almost the entire Journey Pro event, and standing on that pavement, rock, gravel, whatever that was. It was toward the end of the night where we started taking turns sitting in a chair.
I don't blame you.
So, all right, Dean. So yes, that was Shylin. So, super excited to see her live, and she will be on the first pit stop back from our 2 weeks off on the Monday. So we will definitely talk about her match. I'm hoping. Again, I don't know if that's that shirt is showing the match. I don't know if it's like the Ryan the Infinite taking on that guy and El Diablo's in a triple threat match. I'm not sure, but hopefully her match will be announced before she comes on the show. We can chat about that. So
whether it is or whether it isn't, that's a cool shirt. I'd buy it
for sure. Absolutely. So have you never been to a KCXW event? Is that right?
I've been to a lot of New Breed, but I've not been to KCXW. Okay. It's just it's never really coincided with my schedule for some reason.
Yeah, the bad thing is they run kind of I guess kind of infrequent, I guess is the right word. They don't run every month or every other month, kind of like CSW and Journey. So I think their last event was the first month we started this podcast. So they run probably 3 or 4 times a year, it looks like. So definitely don't want to miss this one. This looks like it's going to be a good show. So speaking of New Breed, we got a video I'm going to want to share with you guys. This was posted on their Facebook page about 4 or 5 days ago, roughly. So let's just run the video, and we'll chat about it when it's over here.
Yo, this is Slammer, and I'm pumped to return to wrestling action in Sedalia, Missouri on Saturday, September 17th for New Breed Wrestling. I'll be there defending my television championship, and I can't wait to see all of my Slammer Maniacs there. So what you gonna do, New Breed Wrestling, when Slammer Mania runs wild on you, brother? Ah!
I absolutely love Slammer.
He is a great guy.
Like that's
I love the we did with him, and he's great.
Slammer Mania running wild. Absolutely, Chase. That was and Chase is really big into booking this Slammer Mania versus Stitchamania, which is one of our buddies. We grew up with. His name's Derek Stitch, and he was a huge Hulk Hogan fan, and he kind of dubbed a nickname, and he called himself Stitchamania, and that's just kind of what we call him. So now, when the I-70 hot tag in some alternate Doctor Strange universe, when we're running a wrestling event, we're going to book Slammer Mania versus Stitchamania, and that's going to be the marquee match. So
that would be awesome.
But dude, Slammer, great guy, super down to earth. Our interview was great with him. I'm hoping to get him on at some time in the future where we can get him in a better area where we can actually. He had some audio issues, but he is extremely over in New Breed, and the fans. It's almost like in a much smaller scale because New Breed is kind of a smaller crowd than CSW, but I want to compare the crowd reaction to Slammer similar to Luigi Primo.
Oh yeah,
to where his music hits, which again it's Hulk Hogan's music, so you're going to hear Real American or his WCW version American made. But still, that music hits, the crowd just erupts pretty much. So
yeah, it's good. It's definitely good. I've worked with New Breed before, and yeah, their crowds are very passionate about who they love, and they love Slammer.
They do love Slammer, and Slammer's awesome. Stitchamania versus Slammermania is the marquee matchup wrestling fans didn't know they needed. Absolutely, Chase. We heard Joe talking about upgrading the quality of old video. Didn't realize Slammer could downgrade video quality that much. Yeah, his I don't know if you're it was rough. So anyway, he's going to be at New Breed in Sedalia. Like I said, Sedalia's only, I talked to Chase about this last week. Sedalia is only an hour and a half away from where we live. So we could definitely make it out to a New Breed event kind of sporadically. Just be kind of a long drive, not long drive, but it'll just be a late night drive home. But we're definitely going to make it out to there, whether it not be in September, maybe an October event. So. Yep. All right, and we last topic, man. This is we haven't talked about WLW much on the show since we've had Derek Stone on. Derek Stone was one of our first handful of guests we had on, which was extremely fantastic interview. But they've announced at their Stars and Stripes event that Moses the Deliverer on September 10th is going to take on Superstar Steve. And this is happening in Troy, Missouri, I believe, at the race, Harley Race Wrestling Arena. Yep, Harley Race Wrestling Arena in Troy. So I've talked to Chase about this. Have you seen Superstar Steve wrestle in person?
I have seen him with New Breed, and Superstar Steve, he's been around for a while. He's good. He's just one of those guys that technically knows what he needs to do and just goes out there and does it. He does his business, and he's good at it. On the other hand, me, I love technical difficulties, and I love Moses the Deliverer, so it should be a good match. I like both of them, but I probably lean towards Moses.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen, Moses. I was just introduced to us starting this podcast with technical difficulties in Glory Pro. And, I've talked to Chase a couple times about this. I went to a WLW event in Harrisonville when I was in high school back in 2005-ish, 2006. And Superstar Steve was on the card. And he was one of the wrestlers that just kind of stuck out to me as someone that I remembered. He made an impression on me, and I hope that I can see him wrestle again before he decides. I don't know how close he is to retirement. He may be wrestling for 10 more years. Who knows? But I'm just hoping that I'm able to see him live again because, yeah, he's fantastic. But flip side again, Moses, guy's on a roll, and I think you're right. I think in this instance, in this scenario, I think I'll probably lean Moses as well.
Yeah, and with Superstar Steve, just to let you know, he does wrestle with New Breed.
Yes, I did, and he's actually wrestling. Do I have this graphic? I do not, because I was not planning on talking about it. We talked about it last week. It's on the rundown here. He's wrestling in New Breed on September 17th in I believe the event is called Friends Make Better Enemies, or that could have been just the dubbed, graphic for that match. But Superstar Steve is wrestling Derek McQuinn in a street fight on September 17th. So on September 10th in WLW, he's wrestling Moses the Deliverer. And then 1 week later, he's in Sedalia wrestling Derek McQuinn in the street fight. So 2 chances to see Mr. Superstar Steve. So yeah. Superstar Steve, if you are watching this podcast by any chance, we want you to come on the I-70 Hot Tag and talk to us about your illustrious career here in Harley Races Academy and the entire Missouri, Kansas area. Chase is plugging the Discords. Look at that.
He is.
We have a Discord, guys. I was talking to Bryan about this off air. We have a Discord. It is I don't know how to. The link's there if you guys can see it. If you click on it, you can join. If you don't have a Discord, you can just create one. It's just a message board for all of CRMedia's events and shows, which includes the I-70 hot tag, includes the pit stop, Arrowhead Asylum, talks about Chiefs, and the AEW Dynamite post show, which is on Wednesday night. So, sorry, I'm the chat's kind of trying to catch up here, but yeah. So if you guys can to join the Discord, and before we get on to this to the end of this show here, I'm going to plug our social medias one last time here. Follow the I-70 hot tag on all social media platforms. I run pretty much every platform you can follow us on: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. We're live on YouTube right now. Dean says we definitely need to come to New Breed on September 17th. I'm gonna try, man. I'm gonna try. I think my wife's probably already in bed right now, but I gotta talk to her and get the okay, because we're going to Glory Pro. We're going to KCXW. So it's gonna be a spur of the moment thing. So I think I might say, hey, I'm gonna go to Sedalia on this random Saturday. I don't see us staying in Sedalia. I work for Pepsi, and Sedalia is one of my locations. So I could try to work it around work, but I don't see me ever staying the night in Sedalia since it's so close. So anyway, guys. So also I-70 hot tag. You can follow Chase at CRMedia 1988. His platforms are exactly the same. You know, he's got a Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Most importantly, that Twitch. Follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified when we go live. That is the preferred platform, so we can get Twitch affiliate, which, again, like I've already said, it's going to happen tonight. Can feel it. We're going to hit that. You should do what I do, Josh. Always disappoint your wife so she's not shocked anymore. My wife is numb to it. Well, you know, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. So, Bryan, tell us again. I know you got only one, but tell us where we can follow you on social media.
I'm just on Twitter. You can follow me at Bryan_J, JAY_. And I mean, honestly, just go follow Central States. Go follow any of your indie promotions, the wrestlers they have there. You know, I'd rather put them over than myself. So I do promote a lot of that stuff, though. That's
Absolutely.
basically where you find me.
Absolutely, guys. Chase likes to always talk about, you know, our TikToks. Try to go follow our TikTok accounts, both CRMedia 1988 and the I-70 hot tag. Chase has many more followers than the I-70 account does. So Chase always likes to say we're going to try to saturate the market once we get to 1,000, so we can go live. So once we get there, man, we can post a lot more content on there. Once we tackle Twitch, we're going to tackle TikTok, we're going to tackle YouTube, we're going to do everything. We got a lot of cool stuff coming, guys, and I think we're on our way to doing that. So check out Astonishing Austin Mulatalo. He wrestled Luke Langley just recently in New Breed. I remember that, and I've heard a lot of good things about him. So I saw him and Shailene actually kind of going back and forth on Facebook the other day. Jokingly, it looked like. So anyway, guys, we're getting close to the end here. We're over 2 hours. We're 2.5 hours now. This has been a long one here. So future indie shows, Bryan, what indie shows we got coming up in the next few weeks?
So coming up, I know this Friday we've got Journey Pro is having a weekend at Journeys 2 at Lemonade Park. Then obviously August 27th, everybody should be at CSW Horsemen Country. September 10th is World League Wrestling presents Stars and Stripes. Derek Stone, Leland Race, Camaro Jackson are all in action there. New Breed Wrestling is Friends Make Better Enemies in Sedalia. Superstar Steve versus Derek McQueen in a street fight. So I don't know if he's that far away from retirement if he's doing street fights right now. I think we got a while with him, hopefully.
Right.
So you want to keep going on this one, or
No, man, that's good. I think that kind of wraps up the next couple weeks. It's going to be a good slew of events coming, and I think if you guys are close to those events, again, Journey Pro is tomorrow night. If you guys cannot make it to Lemonade Park tomorrow night, you can go to their Twitch page. I had it posted a little bit earlier, twitch.tv/Journey2Anarchy. They do a great job at the live, the live streaming aspect of it. Obviously, it's not as professional as a CSW event you would see on YouTube. It's not the quality of that as well because, you're getting the editing. But again, it's a great way for Chase and I and anybody else who cannot go to these events to watch them. Raz in Australia, you can watch this live. And that's for St. Louis Anarchy as well. So, and CRMedia, wanted to let you guys know, CRMedia 1988 on Twitch will be hosting Journey Pro tomorrow night. So be sure to check that out. Future podcast shows, guys. So this coming Monday, again, we are off. There's no guests for the I-70 Hot Tag presents the pit stop. There's no show. I'm sorry. But then on September 1st, which is next Thursday, we are going to recap our entire Horseman Country experience. We're going to take video. We're going to try to get some interviews. We're going to talk to the fans. We're going to piece that all together as best as we can and present that to you next Thursday. And we're going to run down the card. We're going to run down the results like we do every time we go to an event, talk about our experiences. So that'll be a fun time. I can't wait.
Fun day.
It'll be good stuff. And then September 8th, which is the following Thursday, as you saw on our mid-show break, our next guest is on September 8th, the I-70 Hot Tag. We're going to have Darian Bengston on the show, and I'm extremely excited for that one.
I'm excited for that one. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, we talked to him at Journey Pro a couple weeks ago, and great dude. Appreciate that, Greg. Appreciate you sticking around. It was a fun show, Bryan. I thank you wholeheartedly for hopping on here in such short notice to co-host this with me.
I told you guys that before. I'll come on anytime you need me to. I appreciate the opportunity.
And you know what, man? We may tag you in for a third co-host one of these times. I know eventually Chase or I are gonna need to take a night off. We just tag you in, whatever. I get a super appreciate it. I'm great job tonight. I had a lot of fun and can't wait to see you on Saturday, man.
Yeah, man, we'll have a lot of fun Saturday.
All right, guys. Well, appreciate everybody for sticking around and watching the show. We will talk to you guys next Thursday on the I-70 Hot Tag. But if you're a CRMedia fan, he'll be live on Tuesday for Arrowhead Asylum. So with that, I'm going to have the pleasure of ending this stream with the Chase special here. Good fight and good night.